So we have the basic functionality of a blog here, but there are a few things we need to do to kind of clean it up and make it work a little better. Number one, we need to make our homepage this blog index page here. But right now, when we go to our homepage, it's obviously this Ruby on Rails default page. So we'll fix that so that we don't have to keep typing /post. And then beyond that, we'll clean this up a little bit. We'll learn how to use the Twitter Bootstrap library, which can be seen right here. If you just look up Bootstrap, you should be able to find a URL called getbootstrap.com. And this is where you can kind of read about Twitter's Bootstrap library. It's just a set of HTML, CSS, and some other code that makes our lives a lot easier when we're trying to make websites look nice and clean. So we're going to do that. We're just going to learn a little bit about HTML and CSS and how it fits into the Ruby on Rails framework by incorporating Bootstrap. So let's go ahead and get started. First, let's fix our home page. So the way we can do that is we can go over to our Rails application directory here under blog and look for a folder called config. And then in there we want to find this file called routes. So I'm going to click that and it opens up here in our text editor. And what I'm going to do is just add a line here. And I'm going to write root and then quotation marks, and I'm going to say posts $index. Okay, and we'll explain what that means later, but this now changes our actual home page to be our blog index page. So if I save that, again on a Mac you can do Command S or just click this and then go over here to our blog. And now if I remove this from the URL and we just try to go straight to our home page, if I hit enter, you'll see that we are now at our blog page. And if this isn't working for you, just make sure that your server is running. See, I have my server running here. So if it's not, make sure that you do the bundle exec Rails server command and make sure it's running in a tab. So now that we have this homepage working, what we're going to do is just look at how we can kind of clean it up a little bit. So what we're going to do is go over here to this Bootstrap website and look at how we can kind of get started with it. So one thing we can do is just add it in really nice and quickly. So I'm going to copy this link here where it says Bootstrap CDN. I'm just going to copy this first one. And then on a Mac I can do Command C. On a computer obviously you can do Control C to copy. And now if you're not seeing this, right, so Bootstrap, they update their website sometimes and different versions come out. If you're not seeing this link here where it says Bootstrap CDN and it should say link and then rel equals style sheet and then, you know, some of this other stuff here. If you're not seeing that, you can always also just search for Bootstrap CDN in your browser. And there's a website called bootstrapcdn.com, and you can see that there's this CSS section here. If you just kind of maximize it, you should see an HTML link for it, and you'll want to copy that HTML link. So either one will be fine. And I'm just going to go ahead and copy either one. I'll just copy this one for now, just in case. And then we're going to place it in a particular file here. We're going to close up this config folder. And we're going to go into this app folder. And we're going to work in here a lot going forward when we work on Rails applications. This is where kind of the core files live. And then I'm going to go into this views folder. And then inside layouts. And then application. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is just right under this title opening and closing tag here, I'm going to hit enter and paste it in right there. And so if for some reason you weren't able to paste into the Nitrous interface, you might just have to manually copy this link and type it out. But as long as you have something that looks like this, you should be okay. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. And now we're going to start implementing some special Bootstrap code inside of our HTML and our CSS to make our site look better. So the first thing we want to do is wrap this little piece of code here inside what we call a division tag in HTML. Now we're going to learn about these details down the line, but just follow along for now. So I want an opening division tag, and I need a closing division tag. And now HTML has a certain way of indenting things. When you nest thing inside your opening and closing tags, you need to tab them over. So I'm going to click here and hit tab twice. So it needs to be one set of tabs deeper than the level that it's nested in, or as we call it, the parent tag. So this child tag is now nested in one tab deeper than this parent tag. And what I'm going to do is just one more thing here. I'm going to go right here next to the div and hit space and add class equals, and in quotation marks I'm going to say container. Okay, now I'm going to hit save. And now if we go back to our browser, as long as we have the Rails server running in this console tab, if we go back to our browser here and refresh our preview page, we'll see that it looks a little bit different. And these are the styles, the default styles that come in from the Bootstrap library. So we can still work on this and make it a little bit cleaner. We'll do that now. Now I want to set your expectations. We're not trying to make this look like the most amazing web design work here. This isn't our goal. It's just to kind of show you a little bit about how HTML and CSS fit into a Rails application. And this is just a good way to kind of show you around the application. So that's our goal here. So what I'm going to do is we need to look at this particular page here and edit it. We've just edited the layout file, which is right here. So now I'm going to go into this posts folder where we have all the code for how our blog posts kind of show up in our application. So let's go to the index page and edit that. So you can go to the one that says index.html.erb. And one thing I'm going to do is add this special Bootstrap feature here. If I hit, I'm going to nest this inside of a div by going like this. And notice how the closing tags have this / on them. Okay, so now this H1 or header one is nested there, and I'm going to rename this. You can call it whatever you want. Let's just rename it for fun. And then what I'm going to do is this div here, this parent div, I'm going to add another class here that Bootstrap gives us, and it's called Jumbotron. Now this may or may not work depending on whichever version of Bootstrap you are, but it's just going to add a little bit of a header. So I'm going to save this file and then go back here and refresh. And there we go. This is what the Jumbotron does. It just gives us this kind of big header here. So now the next thing I'm going to do is kind of tweak these buttons a little bit. They look a little funky as is, so I'm going to kind of tweak them a little bit to look a little different. So the first thing we need to do, however, is disable some of the CSS, and CSS stands for cascading style sheets. So I'm going to disable some of the CSS that comes with the scaffolding that we did here. So I can do that by going to assets under my app folder and then going to style sheets and then scaffolds. Okay, so this file was generated when we ran this scaffold command down below. So I'm just going to disable all of this for now. We may reuse some of it, but let's just see what it looks like without any of this. And the way we can do that is you can select all of it. On a Mac, you can do Command A, and I believe you should be able to do Control A on a PC. And then on a Mac, we're going to hit Command and / simultaneously. So Command / will comment it out. On a PC, you need to do Control /. Now, if for some reason that didn't work, what we did here was just comment out all of this code. Now, if it didn't work, you can always just, I'm going to undo it really quick to show you. So Command Z on a Mac will undo what we just did. You should be able to do Control Z to undo as well. If for some reason that didn't work, you can always just go over here and do /*, and then down below add another asterisk and /. And now everything should be grayed out, and that is how we comment out code. Okay, so when we comment out code, that means the browser is not going to render this code. So we just kind of temporarily disabled all of this stuff right here. So I'm going to go ahead and save the file since everything is grayed out. and then I'm going to go back to our page here and just refresh. Things don't look that different, but we can see some of the colors changed. Okay, so now we're going to look at how we can maybe add some buttons here and make these look a little bit nicer.